It's looking up to shape into a really good game with Baltimore and San Francisco. You got Detroit and Chicago. You got a lot of the old-time rivalries coming up. And then this holiday weekend, I hope everybody's got themselves ready. It's been some nice weather on the East Coast. The temperatures have gone down, but there's really been a lot of sunshine and a lot of teams in the NFL that haven't had a lot of hope have hope this year, one of which we just spoke about with San Francisco. I'm going to bring Scott and Ray on right now. Ray, how the heck are you doing over there in South Jersey?
It's going pretty good. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is one of the good and bad parts, I guess you could say, about having the Eagles on the Sunday night broadcast. You do have the afternoon to enjoy the day. If you could either stay and watch the games or you could do whatever you need to do outside. The weather is really nice. Temperatures are comfortable. But then again, for the purists out there, you sort of like to see those 1 o'clock games, especially when you have an old-school rivalry like you have with the Eagles and Giants. It's just a shame. And you mentioned Eagles on life support. The plug is almost out of the outlet at this point. They're 3-6, and you could pretty much start putting the nails in the coffin if they lose tonight. And with Vince Young at quarterback, Riley Cooper starting at one of the wide receiver spots, it's not really looking good for an Eagles team that everything seems to be crumbling right now. It's not just that they're playing poorly, but the whole Deshaun Jackson situation is opening up the door to speculation about widespread problems throughout the locker room. Are there chemistry issues with all the new acquisitions? And yeah, as an Eagle fan, it's kind of tough because you look at this game, it's the Giants. They're the team who should be our most hated rival. I know most fans would say it's the Dallas Cowboys, but if you go to the players, they say, no, the Giants are the rivalry, that whole Philly-New York thing, and you want to win, you want to have those bragging rights over New York. But in the back of everyone's mind, I think a lot of fans are thinking, are they better off just losing? What is the benefit of winning this week and for the rest of the weeks through New Year's when they play the Redskins? What do you gain with the playoffs almost looking impossible at this point? Could they go on a run in December and finish with a respectable record? And when I say respectable, I'm saying like 8-8, and which is obviously out of the playoffs. But if you want change, if you want a real turnaround, more than likely it's going to have to come after a 4-12 season where the organization cleans house. They're not going to clean house if you have 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder. One of the main stories on ESPN this morning was Steve Smith coming out to his agent or coming out to some media outlet expressing that he would be interested. On the day the Eagles play the New York Giants in primetime Sunday night, Steve Smith comes out and makes it known that if the Giants want him back, he's packed and ready to go. And as you said, we had the situation with Deshaun Jackson, and, I'm a little confused by the optimism that Adam Sphincter, as I call him, Schefter, came on today, and he says there's no way the Eagles are going to let him go, and they're not going to allow him to go. They're either going to, without getting something for him, I guess is his main point. As he came out at the beginning of the week, he said, the Eagles, there's no way they can let a talent like Deshaun Jackson go. They're going to work out a deal. If they got to put the franchise tag on him, they will. And I have a lot of questions that go along with that. Scott Seglinski from Philly Sports Space is with me. And my question, Scott, is if Deshaun Jackson isn't happy now, it's come the end of the year, and I just know, I can imagine how Deshaun Jackson's feeling. You're sitting around, you got 6 games left. As Ray just said, the life support is about pulled out. The plug is falling out. It's kind of hanging on. Got kids and cats and dogs playing in the room. Somebody's pulled it almost all the way out of the socket. In fact, as they wrote this game up on CBS Sportsline, they wrote it up as if the Eagles could play the role of spoiler today. And after all the optimism and encouraging thoughts that we all had in week 2 and 3 about this team and its aspirations for the Super Bowl, now we're talking about 2 of our wide receivers basically wanting out of town and looking forward to going out of town. And back to the question, Scott, if Deshaun Jackson isn't happy now with his contract, how happy do you think this man's going to be once you put the franchise tag on him and stick him here for at least another year?
Well, first of all, the franchise tag essentially would probably overpay him. So yes, it's a 1-year deal, but he's making somewhere around $500,000 this year. A franchise tag, I haven't looked at the numbers, but that could be upwards of like $10 to $12 million a year. So I don't think he'd be upset over that. I don't know if somebody's gotten in his ear and says, you know what, you got to relax. You got to relax. You just got to play hard. You got to show your worth, not just to the Eagles, but to the rest of the NFL. I mean, other organizations are sitting there and going, what's the mindset of this guy? Do we really want to take this on? And let's be quite honest here. Jackson has not really shown his worth of late. In the last 4 games, he's only had 13 catches, 179 yards, and 1 touchdown. And he's supposed to be this flashy return guy. He's only returned 4 punts in the last 4 games for 15 yards. It's a 3.8 average. So this guy has been on mute. So this could be an ideal time. This could be, a little something in disguise here. He's 4-0 lifetime in his trips up to the Meadowlands as an Eagle. This might be the week that gets it started.
And like we were talking about with the players on this team and the continuity that's really happens to be absent, who do you blame for this, Ray? I mean, we've talked about it in weeks past. Is this on Reed's shoulders?
I think you got to spread the blame evenly around. I don't think Deshaun Jackson has handled this season the way I think a lot of people were hoping that he would. And Scott had mentioned something a few minutes ago about, well, who is in Deshaun Jackson's ear? We know who's in Deshaun Jackson's ear. Next question. That's all you have to say. I mean, as far as Drew Rosenhaus is concerned, I personally feel that Rosenhaus would prefer if the Eagles would send Jackson home for the rest of the year. Why risk an injury for a team that's going down? And as he looks at it saying, I'm the master negotiator, teams know that wide receivers are divas, but I'm the wide receiver diva agent, and teams are still going to come after you because of your talent, and teams are desperate for your playmaking ability, and I'll handle any questions they have regarding your character or your work ethic or things of that nature, how you're going to get along in the locker room. That being said, if you're the Eagles, what exactly did you have in mind for Deshaun Jackson? You had to know if you weren't interested in signing him to a long-term deal, did you expect him to be a good soldier? Knowing his personality, knowing who his agent is. So again, everybody can share in the blame for all this. As for the franchise tag, if the Eagles sign him to the franchise tag, they're going to do that to trade him. If they had any interest in Deshaun Jackson being a Philadelphia Eagle in 2012 or beyond, they would start negotiating a contract with him and sign him up. It wouldn't be for the $12 million a year that he would probably get under the franchise tag. It would be a more cap-friendly number, but with a little more security than just a 1-year franchise. They would only sign him to the franchise tag so that they could trade him and get something in return for him. Look for the Eagles to be looking at the rookie wide receivers in the draft in the first round. We want them to go after a linebacker. We've wanted that since 1979. It's not going to happen. They're going to look for not only a receiver in the first round, but also look for them to get a big receiver, somebody around, the 6'3", 6'4" size to complement Maclin. Deshaun Jackson's days as an Eagle are coming to an end pretty soon.